ever found yourself endlessly delaying tasks, even when you know they're important? In an age of constant distractions and tempting comforts, it can feel almost impossible to stay on track. Yet, if you look at Buddhist monks, individuals who follow ancient teachings inspired by the Buddha, they maintain an extraordinary level of self-discipline and resilience. How do they do it? In this guide, we'll explore the principles monks use to conquer procrastination and cultivate unshakable discipline, and how you can adapt these strategies to transform your own life. Why we procrastinate. A Buddhist perspective. Procrastination doesn't stem from laziness alone. In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a wild elephant, easily led astray by cravings and aversions. We delay tasks because part of us wants immediate comfort or fears potential discomfort. Buddha recognized that this tug-of-war between desire and avoidance is universal, so he devised teachings to harness the mind's wandering nature. One key insight is that procrastination arises from attachment to fleeting pleasures, like scrolling through social media, or to avoiding unpleasant feelings, like facing a difficult project. Monks address this by developing detachment, recognizing that short-lived urges shouldn't dictate long-term goals. They learn to see temptations and fears as passing clouds, not commands. This shift reframes how they respond to impulses, making it easier to dive into responsibilities rather than dodge them. For you, awareness is the first step. Notice when you're drawn to procrastinate. Maybe you spot a wave of boredom or the thrill of one more YouTube video. Then remind yourself, this is a momentary pull, not a mandate. By labeling these urges, you start to loosen their grip, laying the groundwork for disciplined action. Cultivating mindfulness. To break the cycle, monks rely heavily on mindfulness to keep procrastination at bay. This practice, paying calm, attentive focus to the present moment, helps them detect early signs of drifting away from their goals. Instead of blindly following the mind's every whim, they observe thoughts and feelings as they arise. If restlessness or avoidance shows up, they see it for what it is, a temporary mental state, and let it pass without acting on it. Translating this into daily life, you could begin each morning with a brief mindfulness session. Sit quietly, follow your breath, and let any arising thoughts move through your awareness. Notice what you're tempted to do. Check your phone, rearrange your desk for the 10th time, etc. But resist the urge to label these temptations as good or bad. Instead, see them as fleeting phenomena. Over time, this mental training clarifies which impulses actually serve your best interests and which merely delay progress. Mindfulness also helps with task immersion. When it's time to work on something, you commit to being present for that one activity, free from digital or mental scatter. If your mind wanders, you gently guide it back. This present moment anchor not only reduces procrastination, but also increases the quality of your output. Buddha often taught that true liberation begins when we master the mind's wavering nature, and conquering procrastination is a real-world example of that mastery. Embracing the middle way, avoiding extremes. Buddha's approach to life, known as the middle way, avoids extremes of indulgence and asceticism. Modern procrastinators often swing between all-or-nothing thinking. They might binge-watch TV for hours and then suddenly vow to work without breaks. Such extremes can lead to burnout or relapse into old habits. Monks strike a balance by scheduling consistent meditation, study, and chores without overloading themselves. This moderate approach respects human limits while steadily building self-discipline. Instead of punishing themselves for lapses, they focus on maintaining equilibrium. So if they become overly rigid, they dial back. And if they start to slack off, they tighten their routine. In practical terms, the middle way means setting realistic goals. If you've been procrastinating on a major project, you won't fix it by forcing yourself to work 10 hours straight each day. Instead, commit to a manageable block, maybe 2 hours of deep focus, followed by a short break. This measured routine helps you avoid the binge and crash cycle. By continuously fine-tuning your approach, you develop a sustainable rhythm that supports forward momentum without triggering emotional or mental exhaustion. The power of small steps. Monastic routines. Monks don't become disciplined overnight. They adhere to structured routines composed of small, repetitive tasks: waking before sunrise, performing morning chants, cleaning their living space, and meditating. These seemingly modest habits reinforce the habit of acting promptly rather than delaying. Over time, these small, consistent actions accumulate into a powerful momentum that monks harness throughout the day. How does this translate to overcoming procrastination? Let's say you're dreading a large assignment. Breaking it into smaller, concrete actions, like drafting an outline or gathering research, replicates the monk's approach. Instead of letting the enormity of the project intimidate you, you tackle bite-sized steps that are easier to begin. Each completed step fosters a sense of accomplishment and reduces the mental resistance to starting the next one. Moreover, these routines instill a sense of discipline beyond any single task. When you commit to a daily schedule, say 30 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of tidying, 15 minutes of meditation, you train your willpower like a muscle. Even on days you feel tired or unmotivated, the routine carries you through. Buddha taught that true freedom arises from doing what benefits you rather than what you merely feel like doing in the moment. By incorporating small daily disciplines, you align your actions with your deeper goals. Meditation for laser-sharp focus. One of the most potent tools monks use to stay on track is focused meditation. While mindfulness can be open-ended, allowing thoughts to come and go, focused meditation directs attention to a single object, often the breath or a mantra. In Buddhist temples, hours can be spent refining this discipline, noticing each time the mind veers off and gently steering it back. This honing of concentration is invaluable for battling procrastination. If your mind habitually leaps to social media or daydreams the moment you face a challenging task, you likely lack the mental muscle to hold attention where it needs to be. Focused meditation trains that muscle. The more you practice, the longer you can sustain concentration without craving a distraction. Try a short daily session. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Gradually increase as you improve. Pick a simple focal point, like slow, deep breathing, and remain with it. Each time your mind drifts, note the thought, maybe planning or worrying, and gently return to your chosen point. Over days and weeks, you'll find this skill transferring to your work or studies. Tasks once riddled with mental side trips become more straightforward as you guide your attention back whenever it wavers. With consistent effort, you'll find that focusing deeply on a project feels far more natural. Wisdom of impermanence, releasing fear of failure. Fear of failure underpins much of our procrastination. We delay projects because we dread not meeting standards, our own or others. Buddhism addresses this by teaching impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Monks internalize this truth to reduce anxiety around outcomes. A single misstep or setback does not define them. It's just another wave in the ongoing ocean of experience. By embracing impermanence, you realize that no success or failure is permanent. You also accept that your skills and circumstances evolve over time. This perspective strips away some of the dread attached to potential failure. With less fear, you're more inclined to start tasks immediately rather than postponing them indefinitely. Consider how much time you waste worrying about whether you'll produce a perfect piece of work. Instead of letting that fear paralyze you, adopt the monk's understanding. Each attempt, successful or not, is transient. Even if you fall short, you learn and adapt for next time. This realization can drastically reduce procrastination. When you stop treating tasks as pass or fail life events, you free yourself to focus on the process, ironically boosting your chances of success. Compassion for yourself, a surprising key to discipline. Monks are often seen as strictly self-disciplined, but their approach is underpinned by compassion, not just for others, but also for themselves. Buddha taught that harsh self-criticism can entrench us in negative cycles. When you label yourself a procrastinator or beat yourself up after a lapse, you create more stress, which can lead to more avoidance behavior. Compassion doesn't mean excusing harmful habits. It means recognizing that you're human, capable of growth, and worthy of patience. Monks apply this principle by acknowledging mistakes or lapses in discipline without sinking into shame. They refocus on the vow or routine at hand. Each day is a fresh opportunity to live in alignment with Buddhist principles. If you slip up, maybe you binge-watch shows instead of working. Don't dwell on guilt. Instead, ask what triggered the slip, then gently reaffirm your commitment to improving. This compassionate mindset fosters resilience. You'll find it easier to bounce back and stay motivated because you're not burdened by self-loathing. In practical terms, add a short daily check-in. What went well today? What can I try differently tomorrow? Keep it constructive, reaffirming that the path to discipline is a journey, not a sprint. Turning service and purpose into motivation. Another secret to monk-level discipline is purpose. Monks often dedicate themselves to higher ideals, such as alleviating suffering or guiding others on the path of enlightenment. This altruistic perspective provides deep motivation, making it easier to adhere to daily routines. Tasks aren't just chores, they're expressions of a larger mission. Translating this into your own life, think about how the tasks you procrastinate on might serve a bigger vision. Whether it's building a skill to help your community, improving your family's well-being, or even just growing into a stronger version of yourself, infuse your activities with purpose. If you remember why something matters, you'll be less likely to put it off. In Buddhism, the concept of right livelihood suggests that work isn't just about personal gain, but also about contributing positively to the world. When you see your tasks in this light, whether it's finishing a project that will uplift others or learning a new skill to be of service, you'll find an inner wellspring of motivation. The barrier of procrastination crumbles under the realization that your effort has meaning beyond immediate gratification. This synergy of discipline and purpose is exactly how monks stay focused, day after day, on their spiritual and communal commitments. Procrastination may feel insurmountable, but Buddha's teachings remind us that every action starts in the mind. By embracing mindfulness, realistic routines, compassionate self-talk, and a clear sense of purpose, you can transform your habits and build the discipline monks embody. Ready to reclaim your focus and finally tackle what you've been putting off? Share how you plan to begin in the comments. And if this resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Monk Mindset, for more insights on living with clarity and resolve. May your journey... Have you ever found yourself craving a sense of calm and clarity, yet feeling pulled in countless directions by the pressures of daily life? In our busy modern world, we often forget that ancient wisdom can offer a steady path forward. By reflecting on timeless Buddhist teachings, like the value of focused effort, the power of genuine intention, and the promise of self-mastery, we can learn to transform distraction into mindful living. Ready to rediscover your own inner stillness? Let's explore how these centuries-old insights can illuminate our modern journey, the potter's wheel of karma. Imagine shaping your life the way a potter shapes clay, molding each detail with thoughtful attention. In ancient Buddhist philosophy, karma is not just about destiny. It is a dynamic dance between your intentions, actions, and the results that follow. Each decision you make forms a single thread in the tapestry of your existence, eventually weaving into your everyday reality. Recognizing that your choices create the life you live can be both humbling and empowering. This means you are not helpless, adrift on a sea of random events, but rather a co-creator of your own destiny. In modern life, it's easy to blame traffic jams, job pressures, or the unpredictability of social media for our stress and dissatisfaction. Yet when you see yourself as the potter who shapes each outcome, you begin to reclaim your power. Every word you speak, each habit you adopt, and all the thoughts you entertain form the clay of your future. By taking responsibility for these actions, you lessen the grip of victimhood and open the door to intentional living. Rather than letting life happen to you, you can choose how you want to happen to life, aligning your actions with who you truly aspire to be. The bridge of right intention. Stepping onto the bridge of right intention invites you to consider the underlying reasons behind everything you do. When your motives are vague, your path becomes just as hazy. Perhaps you're scrolling through your phone at night because you want distraction, or you're rushing through tasks with no clear sense of direction. Ancient wisdom teaches us that a clear, compassionate intention serves as the guiding star of our actions, shining light on the road ahead. In daily life, this means your goals should spring from a place of authenticity. If you crave peace, you might set aside consistent moments of silence, allowing your mind to rest from the daily clamor. If you yearn for professional growth, you could define a focused plan to sharpen your skills. Right intention flows from a well-defined inner compass. It helps you identify what truly matters: family, meaningful work, self-awareness, and channel your energy accordingly. This clarity safeguards you from drifting off course and empowers you to remain consistent even when motivation wanes. The more you refine your purpose, the steadier your steps across life's many bridges will be. The forge of self-mastery. In an age brimming with endless distractions, email pings, social media alerts, streaming services, guarding your mental and emotional well-being can feel like a monumental task. Ancient Buddhist teachings describe self-mastery as an internal forge where disciplined effort refines your potential into genuine skill. Instead of merely wishing for focus, you repeatedly strengthen your mind by choosing constructive practices over shallow diversions. True self-mastery involves a commitment to progress that stands firm even when impatience or temptation tries to derail you. Imagine forging steel. Intense heat and pressure transform raw material into something resilient. By constantly deciding to read a book rather than scrolling mindlessly, or opting for a calming breath instead of lashing out in anger, you are tempering your spirit. Soon, your tolerance for discipline grows, and the once impossible routines become everyday rhythms. The modern world may test your determination at every turn, but remember that you hold the hammer. Every time you invest in your betterment, through personal reflection, mindfulness, or creative pursuits, you stoke the fires of self-mastery. Over time, you'll notice your capacity to stay calm, adapt, and persevere evolves into an unbreakable inner core. The archer's discipline. Picture an archer poised to release an arrow. If their mind wanders or their stance falters, the shot veers off course. Like that archer, you, too, need stability before you let your intentions fly. In the swirl of modern chaos, small, repetitive actions can anchor your day and keep you on target. Waking up at a set time, journaling your goals, or dedicating the first hour of the day to creative work, these seemingly trivial habits form the disciplined posture from which you release each arrow of effort. Ancient teachings remind us that major breakthroughs often result from the accumulation of countless small steps. Achieving mastery does not hinge solely on motivation. Instead, it relies on a consistent routine that you trust, even on days when enthusiasm wavers. People who embrace discipline as a daily ritual often discover that the path to success has little to do with instant gratification. Rather, it emerges from the steady practice of investing time, energy, and focus into the tasks that matter. By becoming an archer in your own life, you learn to train your body and mind to align with your objectives, ensuring that every shot, every moment, brings you closer to your intended mark. The riverbank of equanimity. Along a tranquil riverbank, the waters flow ceaselessly by, representing the constant movement of life's events and changes. Equanimity is the calm riverbank itself, the unshakable ground beneath your feet regardless of external chaos. In Buddhist teachings, equanimity arises when you stop chasing every fleeting desire and panicking at every unfavorable turn. Instead of wasting energy on what you cannot control, you focus on what is always within reach. your breath, your attitude, and your ethical principles. In a modern context, equanimity might look like maintaining your sense of peace when personal plans abruptly change or when unforeseen difficulties arise at work. You recognize that while you cannot prevent the flow of ups and downs, you can choose how you respond to them. By learning to ride the waves with grace, frustration and disappointment have less power over your mood. When grounded in equanimity, you make decisions from a place of balance rather than impulse. This serenity, cultivated over time, becomes your home base, a steady refuge where you recharge. Whenever the current of life feels overwhelming, remember you have an anchor in your own mindful awareness, always ready to return you to calm waters. The Phoenix of Right View. From the ashes of adversity, the legendary phoenix rises reborn, symbolizing transformation through struggle. Right view, an essential teaching in Buddhism, encourages us to see setbacks as catalysts for growth, rather than final verdicts on our worth. Every disappointment, heartbreak, or failure has the potential to ignite new wisdom once we accept it as part of our story. This is the lens that transforms suffering into a kind of teacher, guiding us to reflect on the lessons hidden within life's darker moments. When misfortune strikes, the initial sting can feel overwhelming. Yet if you remain present and refrain from labeling the event as purely negative, you create space for learning. Perhaps a lost job nudges you toward a career that aligns more with your core values, or a painful relationship breakdown leads you to deeper self-awareness. The flame of hardship need not consume you. Instead, it can strip away illusions, burn through complacency, and reveal an inner strength that you might never have discovered otherwise. Embracing right view means trusting that every challenge holds seeds of renewal if you are willing to greet it with openness and curiosity. The lighthouse of prioritization. Think of a tall lighthouse piercing through the fog with a single, unwavering beam of light. That beam is your sense of priority, a bright focus guiding you through the haze of endless distractions. When everything competes for your attention, from incessant notifications to myriad social obligations, your progress easily stalls. Ancient wisdom highlights that meaningful achievement stems from consistent focus, not scattered effort. By consciously choosing what truly deserves your energy, you effectively shine a guiding light on your goals, ensuring they remain visible amid life's countless diversions. In practice, prioritization means picking the single project that matters most each day and devoting your best hours to it. It means saying no more often so you can wholeheartedly say yes to what genuinely aligns with your core values. This can be challenging as we often fear missing out or disappointing others. Yet every time you guard your focus, you reaffirm your commitment to building a purposeful life rather than a busy one. Over time, the simple act of shutting off notifications, scheduling deep work sessions, or creating boundaries around your digital usage can reinstate you as the captain of your own attention. Like a steadfast lighthouse keeper, you ensure your guiding light never dims. Reframing failures as opportunities. Failure often comes with a sense of finality, but reframing it can open a door to deeper insight. From a Buddhist perspective, nothing is truly stagnant. Everything is in flux, which means setbacks are merely points along the path, not dead ends. The difference lies in how you interpret them. Do you regard each stumble as evidence of your limitations or as valuable feedback for refining your approach? When you see failure as a chance to regroup and recalibrate, it loses its power to paralyze you. Modern life amplifies the fear of imperfection, with social media showcasing glossy highlights and encouraging us to hide our shortcomings. Yet some of the world's most innovative accomplishments emerged after countless experiments that failed. Each disappointment taught the pioneers of art, science, and business where their methods faltered and how they could adapt. Whether you're learning a new skill, applying for a promotion, or starting a side hustle, failure becomes a building block if you strip away the shame and embrace the lessons. This approach fosters resilience. It nurtures a balanced mindset that can stretch and grow through every obstacle, leading you to unexpected triumphs and profound self-awareness. Thank you for sharing this journey into ancient wisdom, adapted for our modern challenges. May these practices serve as a steady hand whenever life feels chaotic, encouraging you to maintain discipline, find clarity, and embrace each failure as a teacher. True transformation happens one choice at a time, and each new day offers the chance to shape your destiny with mindful intent. If you enjoyed these insights, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Monk Mindset, for more contemplative explorations that guide you toward greater balance. And have you ever felt weighed down by memories? An event you wish you'd handled differently? A choice that still haunts you? Or a moment you can't stop replaying? Regret can chain us to the past, blocking our ability to move forward with ease. Yet centuries ago, Gautama Buddha offered insights on impermanence and self-compassion that can help dissolve these emotional shackles. His teachings remind us that clinging to what's gone only intensifies suffering. In this script, we'll explore why we hold on to regrets, how to let them go using Buddhist principles, and practical steps to rekindle a sense of freedom and possibility. Why we cling to the past. Regret often springs from attachment, the mind's insistence that a particular outcome or event should have been different. When reality doesn't match our expectations, we feel cheated or guilty. Maybe you said something hurtful to someone you cared about, or you passed on an opportunity that might have altered your career path. Clinging to these scenarios, you replay them, trying to change an unchangeable situation in your head. Buddha noted that this mental loop intensifies suffering. By fixating on should-haves, we anchor our thoughts in illusions. We imagine a static timeline where if we'd done X, everything else would remain perfect and unaltered. In reality, every choice unfolds within a web of unpredictable variables. Things might not have gone as smoothly as you imagine. The problem isn't that you made a mistake, but that you keep mentally reliving it without gleaning real lessons or allowing yourself to heal. This cycle thrives on a false notion that dwelling on regret can fix the past or redeem the pain. But lamenting what's gone doesn't rewrite history. Instead, it saps emotional energy needed to engage with what's here and now. Recognizing that regret is a form of clinging helps you see why it's so draining. Your mind fights reality, perpetually stuck in what if. Impermanence, Buddha's lesson. On constant change. Central to Buddha's teachings is anicca, or impermanence. Everything in life, conditions, feelings, even personal identities, undergoes change. When we ignore this truth, we trap ourselves in illusions of how things should remain. Past moments, whether joyous or painful, are gone. Attempting to freeze them or rewrite them in your head doesn't align with how existence flows. Imagine your regret as a photograph you stare at, hoping the scene might shift. But the photo remains static while life marches on around you. Acknowledging impermanence means accepting that the past is already in motion toward something else. No matter how attached you are to that one snapshot, the forces of time continue. For Buddha, internalizing anicca frees mental space. If you embrace the fact that nothing, including your regrets, holds permanent sway, you begin releasing the emotional grip tying you to bygone moments. This approach doesn't deny accountability for mistakes. Instead, it invites you to incorporate them into the ongoing narrative of growth. If you realize you erred in a relationship or a career choice, you can glean the insight, maybe a clearer sense of your values, or a refined skill for future decisions. And then let that past version remain in the past. You carry forward the learning, not the chains of regret. Overcoming regret through self-forgiveness. One reason regrets gnaw at us is self-blame. We label ourselves incompetent, cruel, or foolish for what we did or failed to do. That negative self-talk cements regret as we continue punishing ourselves mentally. Buddha's teachings highlight compassion, not just for others, but for oneself. Without self-compassion, you get stuck in a cycle of shame. which ironically can spur more avoidance and procrastination. Self-forgiveness recognizes that you, like all human beings, are in a constant process of learning. Mistakes or missed opportunities often reflect limited knowledge or emotional states at the time. You can't alter that context now, but you can choose to be kinder in your internal dialogue. Instead of repeating, "I'm such a failure," try a mindful reflection. I made a choice based on what I knew then. What can I learn from it? This shift from condemnation to curiosity relieves the sting of regret, paving the way for real emotional healing. In Buddhist practice, self-compassion forms part of the path to ending suffering. If you perpetually attack yourself for past errors, you can't fully open your heart to present possibilities. By tenderly acknowledging your own fallibility, you do more than soothe guilt. You create an inner atmosphere conducive to calm, wise action. Buddha recognized that genuine growth, spiritual or otherwise, demands this gentle acceptance of human imperfection. Mindful reflection, turning regrets into insights. Dropping regret doesn't mean burying your head in the sand. Buddha advocated mindful reflection, examining your regrets to glean lessons, then releasing them. Think of a farmer who checks a failed crop. He inspects the soil conditions, the seed quality, the weather patterns, and then adapts for the next planting. He doesn't stare at the barren field in despair forever, lamenting that it should have thrived. He learns and moves on. You can do something similar. First, label the regret by writing it down. Clarify precisely what you regret, the event, the choice, or the words you spoke, so you avoid vague self-blame. Next, identify your triggers and motives, reflecting on the emotional state or external pressures that shaped your actions. Maybe fear or pride influenced you, or you lacked certain information. Understanding the context gives you a fuller picture. Then extract the lesson. Ask yourself what can guide you in future scenarios. Perhaps improved communication or verifying facts before you decide. This step transforms regret from a mental prison into a stepping stone. Finally, release the scenario after learning its lessons. You might visualize sending that memory on its way, like letting a leaf float off in a river. A symbolic gesture can help break the cycle of mentally rehashing old events. This structured reflection, akin to a short meditation or journaling session, fosters calm resolution. You honor what the past taught you, yet disengage from its emotional weight, aligning with the Buddhist principle of mindful living. Practical steps to let go. Embodying Buddha's teachings. Letting go can feel abstract, so here are tangible ways to cultivate non-attachment and reduce regret. A daily mindfulness practice might involve spending 10 minutes on breathing meditation, simply labeling drifting thoughts, regret, memory, anger, and gently returning to your breath. Repeatedly doing this trains you not to identify too strongly with mental noise. Metta, loving kindness. Meditation can also help. You begin by extending compassion to yourself, saying, "May I be well, may I be free from suffering," and gradually include others, even those tied to your regret, wishing them peace. This dissolves self-anger or self-disgust. You can further set clear boundaries with the past. If you find yourself spiraling into what-ifs, designate a short weekly reflection period for analyzing regrets. Outside that allotted time, vow kindly to redirect your mind to present tasks, cutting down on aimless dwelling. Supportive community also matters. Sharing your struggles with empathetic friends or a sangha community can release pent-up emotions and remind you that you're not alone in dealing with burdensome memories. Finally, sometimes taking action helps catalyze healing, like apologizing if you hurt someone or volunteering for a cause related to your regret. By transforming stuck energy into forward movement, you neither ignore regrets nor wallow in them. You glean insights, adjust, and move on. This balanced approach reflects the Buddhist middle way, merging reflection and compassion with practical steps toward lasting relief. Compassion for others, freeing yourself from blame. Letting go of regrets often intersects with letting go of blame, not just for yourself, but for others who may have contributed to the painful event. If you resent someone you feel caused your regret, that resentment keeps the entire scenario alive. Buddha stressed that holding grudges or resentment shackles your mind. It's another form of attachment. Compassion extends beyond personal regrets. Perhaps a loved one's betrayal triggered your spiral of "if only I'd seen the signs sooner." Even if their actions were hurtful, harboring resentment only fuels the negativity you're striving to release. Compassion doesn't excuse wrongdoing, but it acknowledges that people act from their own ignorance or pain. By stepping into empathy, you reduce emotional turbulence. This shift from blame to understanding helps you mentally part ways with the event. You see it as a confluence of many factors, not a single person's malicious intent. That perspective fosters a sense of closure, recognizing that pointing fingers or fuming won't rewrite the past. Instead of entangling your identity in victimhood or anger, you focus on how you can heal and learn, broadening your capacity for insight and kindness, building a forward-focused mindset. Ultimately, releasing regret paves the way for a forward-focused mindset. Buddha's teachings highlight the power of the present moment as the real arena for growth and transformation. If you're perpetually replaying old scenes, your attention is absent from the now, where solutions and opportunities unfold. Adopting a forward-looking attitude may involve setting fresh goals or re-energizing old aspirations with a kinder, more informed approach. If you once bungled a career move, you can revisit your ambitions with renewed clarity, unburdened by crippling self-doubt. If you damaged a relationship through careless words, you might practice more mindful communication going forward. These shifts illustrate that letting go of regret isn't passive forgetting. It's harnessing your experiences to fuel constructive change. Buddha's path was all about continuous refinement. Each moment opens the possibility for more skillful speech, more mindful action, and deeper compassion. Your regrets, seen through this lens, become lessons guiding you toward better decision-making and stronger emotional resilience. Instead of longing to rewrite the past, you invest in shaping the future. This reorientation is what monks strive for daily, living now, anchored in ethical clarity, free from the mind's old baggage. Buddha's message on letting go of the past underscores that regret locks your mind in what can't be changed, draining your capacity to thrive. By applying Buddhist principles like mindfulness, self-compassion, and acceptance of impermanence, you can release old burdens and direct your energy toward meaningful actions now. Which step feels most liberating for you? Let us know in the comments. And if this resonates, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Monk Mindset, for more insights on healing regrets, embracing the present, and finding inner peace. May each lesson guide you to freedom from past entanglements